Coming to you from his studio in downtown San Francisco, this is the Backstage Bay Area podcast. And now, here's your host, Steve Roby.
Hey, welcome everyone. This is Backstage Bay Area, and I'm your host, Steve Roby. My guest today is a guitarist whose resume reads like a history of modern groove. He has been called a prodigy since he first picked up the instrument at, get this, age 2, and Rolling Stone magazine officially dubbed him the next young gun. He has toured or recorded with heavyweights such as Anderson Paak, Robert Glasper, and Jon Batiste, and his film scores have appeared in award-winning documentaries such as Mr. Soul and Apollo. He is bringing his electric, genre-blurring sound to the SF Jazz Center this week. Marcus Machado joins us now. Hey, Marcus, it's great to have you on Backstage.
Hey, man, thank you, man. Thanks for having me.
All right. Where am I reaching you today?
Oh, man, yeah, you're reaching me all the way in Brooklyn, New York.
All right. Greetings from San Francisco.
Yeah, man, likewise. Yeah, I'm just here in the studio finishing up the new stuff for the new album and stuff. So, yeah, just in there. It's a snowy day. Oh. Not a lot of snow, but, you know, it's one of those days, studio days.
Studio day. Good to be inside, yeah?
You're right, exactly.
Hey, Marcus, I want to go back to the very beginning for a moment. Your bio mentions you started on acoustic guitar at 2 and were playing electric by 4. Mm-hmm. This is incredibly young to be handling an instrument that is so physically demanding. Can you take us back to that time in Brooklyn? Was there a specific moment or a particular recording playing in the house that made you realize this is what I want to do rather than this is just something I play?
Yeah, I think the first thing that I can remember, I was 2 years old. My father, he also too played, instruments and stuff, and the guitar was laying on the floor. And I remember them telling me as I got older that I just crawled to the guitar and just picked it up and just start playing. And then it was like, okay, he's got something. And then I think as far as like music wise, the first thing that I heard that stood out to me the most was my father played me EXP, the song from Axis Bold as Love, the first song. Yeah. From there. And I remember, if you guys know that song, it's like, a whole bunch of effects and stuff.
Yeah, it's wild.
And I was like, wow. I was like, what is this? What is this? And then between that and listening to Electric Ladyland, those were like the first like vivid memories of like music, as I was kind of like introduced. And from that moment, it was just like captivating, it was just like, yeah, this is what I wanted to do. And then when I was in kindergarten, my first performance that I played at my kindergarten graduation was When Cries Mary.
Damn.
My mom, she has it somewhere on VHS, but I think it's somewhere around. But yeah, my feet couldn't, touch the floor, and I was playing When Cries Mary on acoustic guitar. So that was, my first musical experience, as you can say.
Yeah. Damn, is what I gotta say, man.
Yeah.
I'd love to see that video someday.
Yeah, man.
Anyway, let's fast forward to today. You have been receiving a lot of acclaim for your recent work, including your albums Aquarius Purple and Blue Diamonds. You've really carved out a lane that sits right at that intersection of rock, funk, hip hop, and jazz. When you were in the studio for your latest projects, what was the primary sound or texture you were looking for?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's just for those, especially the new stuff, it's just a continuation of those 2 albums, and just exploring as much as I can, just trying to take the guitar to to the next level, far as sonically, with sounds and stuff. And for me, as much as I love Hendrix, I also too love Jaco Pastorius and D'Angelo and Prince and all these different genres. So for me, anything that I make for myself, I always try to take all these different genres and put it together. And yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just a continuation of, the stuff that I recorded before, and just, just trying to get better as I go, with the guitar,
That's all you can do, man.
Yeah, and that's it. And the main thing I think for me is just stay hungry. That's always been my thing, because I feel like a lot of musicians, if they reach fame or wherever they get to, sometimes they kind of get, satisfied, and they forget about the art, what's the reason why that they got them, there first. For me, it's always try to explore, new ideas, and always stay hungry. Just like as I was, younger, sitting in the room and learning all those songs. And That's always my thing. Try not to be too satisfied. Because, guitar is an instrument that I feel like, you'll never master it. You can learn a lot, but there's always something new to learn. So I always try to just be a student in anything that I do.
That's so important.
Yeah. It's exactly. Because I mean, especially like when you travel and you go to all these different places, man, I'll be like, what is this playing? In the airport or somewhere, and I'll be like, wow, this is, amazing. And you get, inspired, when you listen to different genres of music.
Yeah.
And that's always my thing. Always, always have something that you love, but also to have an open mind to different ideas and different music.
Amen to that.
Yeah, for sure.
Hey, I want to play a track I think really highlights your approach to melody. The song is called Get By. Could you set the scene for our listeners? Is there a story or a specific narrative behind this composition of this?
For Get By, it's an instrumental song, but it's just really, at this time when I recorded, this was during the pandemic. So everything was kind of really like bad, and George Floyd and all the stuff that was going on. So for me, it was just like Get By. Just have some type of, just have... just be aware of everything that's going on, and and just kind of inspiration, what I mean, for that song. And it's a melody driven song, and it's a feel good song, and it's like whatever you're going through, there's always light at the tunnel. So that was my whole approach for that song.
All right, a good message too. Let's give it a listen. This is Get By from Marcus Machado, and you're listening to Backstage Bay Area. This is Backstage Bay Area. I'm Steve Roby, and we just heard Get By from my guest, guitarist Marcus Machado. Marcus, I was reading a piece in Guitar World where you talked about the influence of Jimi Hendrix. We were talking about him earlier, specifically the Band of Gypsies era. You mentioned that you view that group as the first true funk rock band, paving the way for Parliament, Funkadelic, and others.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, it's amazing because, if a lot of people, if they don't know the story, that actually band was put together because Jimmy was in a contractual agreement. He owed somebody. I guess he signed a bad contract, before he became famous, and then they went and they tried to get him for some money. So he was like, let me just put a live show, and that was the band of Gypsies, and the fact that they came together just for those 4 shows.
Yeah.
And that's the first time that you heard like funk, rock, even heavy metal, because when you listen to like Black Sabbath and Led Zeppelin, this is 69 going into 70. And just for those 4 shows, the foundation, like they opened up the door for so much, what music that came after, you know what I mean? So for me, it was like Eddie Hazel. Right. I've heard, George Clinton, he said that too. Everybody, Band of Gypsies was the first like black funk rock group, you know what I mean? After that. So yeah, for me, that was a very, influence, on my playing, and, always having a backbeat, always having a groove, whatever it is that you do. And, Buddy Miles and, Billy Cox, just the fact that it was just 3 of those, and it sounded like it was a 10-piece band was like crazy,
Exactly. Yeah, that contract Hendrix signed, as the story goes, he signed a contract with a New York record producer
Ed
for
Chapman,
for $1, just so he can get into the studio. But what came back to bite him was that it was for 3 years going forward. So Chaplin claimed that he owned all the music from 66 to 68, which included, some of the best recordings of Hendrix.
Crazy, right?
So you let that be a lesson to you youngsters out there. Be careful what you sign.
And don't sign anything for $1, please.
I'm sure
you're worth more. You're worth more. But I feel like, at that time, this is back, when he was like a starving musician playing at Cafe Wa, and, he was just signing anything just to get by, because, he was pawning his guitars and stuff, and it was a tough time, but always be aware of those contracts.
Amen. So let's talk about that fusion of heavy rock energy and the deep funk grooves that Hendrix was playing, especially in this next track of yours. It's titled Black Psychedelic Funk. The title alone suggests a specific vibe. When you recorded this, were you looking to capture a live improvisational energy, or was this more about constructing a specific sonic atmosphere in the studio?
Yeah, I mean, for this song, it was really spontaneous. It was a groove that I started on back when I was in Amsterdam, and I feel like the song started probably like in 2008, 2007, and that's how old the track started, and I had a totally different groove to the song. And then during the pandemic, this is when I was working on Aquarius Purple. I had teamed up with Daru Jones, another good friend of mine, and, we was in the lab, and, I was playing this groove, and we kind of, constructed, around that groove. And, it's a really laid back, funk rock, but you hear all the different influences and stuff. And then, of course, Jermaine Holmes from D'Angelo and The Vanguard, he was the backing vocalist for D'Angelo and The Vanguard. He put the icing on the cake. And I mean, it's really my type of sound, like where you can hear rock, you can hear funk, you can hear a little bit of hip hop, you can hear soul, it's all these different things all in one. So, that's the best representation, I think. From the sound.
It's a great track, and let's listen to it now. This is Black Psychedelic Funk by Marcus Machado here on Backstage Bay Area. We just heard Black Psychedelic Funk by my guest, Marcus Machado. You're listening to Backstage Bay Area. I'm Steve Roby. Marcus, let's talk about your live show coming up at SF Jazz in the Joe Henderson Lab. I know you played huge stages like Madison Square Garden and the Hollywood Bowl, and you're coming to San Francisco to play the Joe Henderson Lab. But this room is a much more intimate room. The audience is right there, right in front of you, at your feet practically. How does your mindset or your set list change when you move from an arena environment to a close quarters club like the Joe Henderson Lab?
Yeah, I feel like, you just turn the volume all the way up to 10. No,
it's all right with me, man.
Blast everybody away. No. I mean, all jokes aside, I feel like as much as I love playing, arenas and, a lot of people, I feel like some of the best shows are when it's intimate and the people is right in front of you. Because I feel like in the more bigger spaces, you can't reach everybody. And in an intimate setting, everybody's all in, they're zoned in, and, you can really tap into that vibe. And, that's what I'm really looking forward to, next week, coming over. And I love, SF Jazz and just playing there all the time, from Jose James. I've played there in the past, but the Joe Henderson Lab, I love the fact that, it's very intimate and it should be fun, and, you get everybody's attention and, everybody vibes out. And I feel like the set list, it just kind of, for me, I'm not really a big on a set list type of thing because I feel like once you get into the vibe of the show, the mood can always change. You know what I mean? So, it's always good to have a structure, but also to, have an open mind to, wherever the crowd takes you, wherever their energy gives to you, you pass it on. So it's like a conversation. So that's what I'm really looking forward to. And it's always fun, to mid-settings here.
I'm sure we have some guitar gearheads in our audience today that want to know what your setup is like, what kind of pedals, guitar, and all that stuff. Can you share that with us?
Yeah. For me, for live settings, for a while I was using, when I was actually on tour with Daniel Caesar, I was using the Helix. It's a Line 6 Helix, which is more digital type of vibe, but you can always tweak, pre-settings and all that stuff. But lately I've went back to my analog stuff. So, regular Vox wah, I use a lot of, it's a company called Beatronics. They have incredible like fuzz phases and, Octavia stuff. And then my Tech 21, which is like, it's like preamps all in that with the delay. And then, that's pretty much it. You know what I mean? For live, everything else is just exploring and going from there. Cause I feel like with digital pedals, it's cool, but sometimes it could be a little too bright. You know what I mean? Right. And so for me, I'm always an analog guy first, but I try not to have like so many pedals. I try to keep it basic, just a good distortion, a good delay. Yeah. Maybe a Univibe. I use that too a lot. Univibe, the MXR. And then, and the good wah-wah. And that's about it.
All right. Sounds good. Who's gonna join you on stage for this run?
Yeah, so it's gonna be a trio vibe. So we got my brother Uriah Duffy all Bay Area musicians, you know, all the way from Oakland. Uriah Duffy, he played with a lot of people, and Dame Drummond. Yep. He's going to be on drums, and we're going to have a good time.
All right. Sounds like it's going to be a fantastic night of music.
Yeah, I hope so.
Let me remind our listeners that Marcus Machado will be performing at the SF Jazz Center's Joe Henderson Lab on Thursday, this coming Thursday, January 22nd. There are 2 sets, one at 7 p.m. and another at 8:30 p.m. And you can get your tickets right now by going to sfjazz.org. Are you going to bring in any merch with you?
Yeah. I'm going to bring, you know what? I got a couple purple vinyl. So, So, I'm going to bring some Aquarius purple vinyl.
Nice.
Diamond. So, it's funny because it's like in each vinyl, you don't know what color it is. So, you know, whoever gets it, they may get the limited edition one. Yeah.
You got to buy them all to get the purple.
Yeah, you got to buy them all to get one. And
like
then you buy them
cards.
all, and then it's all black. So if there's no color. No.
Just dig the music, yeah. Hey, Marcus, thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I really enjoyed the conversation.
Likewise. Thanks for having me.
Are you a jazz musician preparing for a run in San Francisco? The Backstage Bay Area podcast wants to help tell your story. We are currently filling our guest lineup with the artists keeping the jazz scene alive. If you have dates booked at a local club or concert hall, let's get you on the mic to discuss your latest work. Connect with us directly. Send an email to backstage.sfbay@gmail.com. Just let us know when you'll be playing in San Francisco. That's backstage.sfbay@gmail.com. This is Backstage Bay Area, a home for deep artist conversations, live music culture, and the ongoing story of jazz in the San Francisco Bay Area. Help us spread the word by following and sharing Backstage Bay Area on social media. Visit BackstageBayArea.com to find our social links and explore more from the Bay Area jazz scene.
You've been listening to the Backstage Bay Area podcast. Visit us on the web at BackstageBayArea.com. And don't forget to keep jazz alive in the 415.